Welcome back to another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to begin with our equipment slash clothing system. So I have my custom character set up and I'm gonna dress her up, and before that we need some more assets, and I'm gonna go to my UI folder to the icons and I'm going to add a couple of icons. And these icons are going to be for our equipment system. So I have for the armor, boots, hat, pants, weapon, and an empty icon because I don't have icons for every single one of my equipable items. So I'm going to drag these in. You can find these down in the description box. And first I'm going to begin with the UI part of this. So we have the inventory UI. So I'm just gonna add my equipment UI next to my inventory. So when we press the I key, we would see the inventory and the equipment to the same time. Bottom corner. Add a vertical box. 600 by 800. Position X will be 50. Position Y will be minus 850, like so. And I'm gonna add a text, so that it would look similar to our inventory system. I'm gonna make this align to the middle. And what about the sizes? Did we change anything on the sizes? Nope. So we're gonna leave it at that, and this is going to be equipment, like so. And I'm gonna add a couple of images to our vertical box. We're gonna make this to the middle. I'm gonna make the size a bit bigger. How about 64 by 64? No, seems still a bit small. 128 by 128. Yeah, seems pretty good. And I could use a spacer over here because it's getting way too close. So I'm gonna add a spacer. Size. Whoops, wrong axis. I need this axis. There we go. It's around 35. A bit too much actually. So I can do this like 20. And I'm gonna just duplicate this spacer. And now I'm going to add a horizontal box under my spacer, like so. And I will duplicate my image. We'll move this into my horizontal box, and I will make 3 of these, and I'm gonna make sure this is set to fill. All of these are set to fill so that they would merge nicely. And this is going to be our helmet, weapon 1, weapon 2 if we decide to make one, armor, and then I will collapse this, duplicate this one, and duplicate it once more. So for our pants and our boots, and also I need to duplicate spacer 2 times to make it look like so. And what I could do actually is make this a bit bigger, like so. We're gonna leave some space. Maybe eventually we will add, I don't know, let's say like a necklace, some rings, and some more items, so we have more space for this. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to change the icons for images for all of these, and I'm gonna begin by hat icon. There we go. Whoa, it made 200, so I need to change it to 128, 128. There we go. Then we need a weapon icon, 128, 128, and I will just copy this so I don't have to type it all the time. Armor, and I'm gonna paste the size. Again, a weapon, paste the size. Pants, paste, and boots, paste. There we go. Compile and save. press play, press I. There we go. We have our equipment. Great. So now we're gonna do some more setting up. I'm gonna go to my S inventory structure where I have my inventory item structures. Here we have a static mesh. We have value, which is going to be, let's say for armor it's going to be defense, and for weapon it's going to be the attack power. But we have only static mesh, and we also need a skeleton mesh, so I'm gonna add a new variable which is going to be a skeletal mesh, and I'm gonna change the type to skeletal mesh. There we go. Save. And yeah, I think that should be it for this. And the next thing what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create the actual items. If you haven't watched my previous videos, make sure you do. I believe it's video 2 from my inventory system, where I am creating these pickups. And well, I changed the pickup system itself a little bit differently, but yeah, the idea is the same for item creation. So I'm gonna just duplicate one of my pickups. Let's say I could just duplicate this spawned pickup, I believe, and I'm gonna call this pickup hat. There we go. So we have all the functionality over here like we need to, and I'm just going to change the static mesh to hat static. There we go. It's a bit big, so I'm just gonna rescale this to 0.5. Drag this into the world, I guess, to see how big it. Whoa, it's pretty big. So I'm gonna make this even smaller. Let's say like 0.3. Yeah, 0.3 seems good. And I'm gonna change the item data. So the name is going to be just hat description. Put on your head. The type is going to be, I'm gonna call this helmet type. The value is be, let's say 10, amount 1, because we only have 1. It is not going to be stackable, and we are going to allow this to be placed on the ground. And we need, since we change these scales to 0.3, then also we need to do the same thing in our build scale. We need to set this to 0.3, so when we place this on the ground it would actually be smaller. For the icon, I'm going to use the empty icon since I don't have an icon for this. For the static mesh, it's going to be a hat static, and for the skeletal it's going to be just the hat skeletal. There we go. Great. And I'm gonna do the same thing for all of my pickups. I have quite a few of them. We imported these in the previous video where we created our custom character, so you can find these. These are free to use, and I got these from makehumancommunity.org, the same place where I created my human. And I'm just going to change the types like armor, armor pants, boots, and weapon. Actually, one more thing that I'm gonna do that I just noticed while I placed these into the world, since I duplicated the spawned pickup, let's open our log. We only have this interface function, and we don't have the begin play, so we can delete actually this. We don't need this since this is a yeah, in a different engine they call this prefab. So and I'm also making these like prefabs, so I can like drag in a ready item, because actually what I could do is just drag in this box and change the item defaults to what I want, and it's going to create that item. But since I want to see what I place in the world, then I'm just making these pre-built blueprints for it. So delete that function because we don't need it. We only need this one. So there we go. I have created my items. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. I'm gonna create all the rest of them later on. So I'm gonna drag these in, and I'm gonna test if I can actually pick these up. So I'm gonna select these things. And there we go. press I, and I have my hat, jeans with flowers, regular jeans, blouse, shoes, black shoes. So now we actually need to equip these. So how are we gonna do that? Well, first what we need to do is we should go to our UI folder where we have item info, and here we decide what we are doing with different types of items. So I'm gonna comment these unhovered, where we unhover an item, where we hover an item, and where we click an item. There we go. So this is going to be a bigger one eventually, so we're gonna move this out and these two up a bit. There we go. Could actually make this that bit bigger, this one as well. So I'm gonna begin by my hovered events, and I'm gonna add pins, and the first one is going to be a helmet, and these are all depending on the type which you type in here in the item info. So I have helmet. Well, I'm gonna begin by helmet, and then I'm gonna go to the armor, pants, one more, and that's going to be boots. Since the weapons are pretty simple and there's a lot of tutorials on it, I'm gonna make those last. I'm gonna begin with these because I feel like these could be more interesting than the weapon one, because the weapon one is pretty simple. And for the hovered event, we're not gonna do anything special. If we have one of these types, then we're just going to do the same thing as we did for food. We're gonna just change the name to click to use, like so. And for the unhovered, we will do exactly the same thing. Since I'm lazy, then I'm just going to copy this switch, delete this switch, and place it in the location like so. As simple as that, and just connect all the pins right here. And now if we go back to our game, press, first I need to collect these. Mannequins, there we go. So I'm gonna press I, and as you can see, if we hover over a clothing, it changes, click to use. There we go. So now let's go to our click event. I'm gonna make this bigger. So I again need to copy it. Well, I already have copied it. Yes, I will need to change this switch again. So I'm gonna place this in, connect the type like so. Food, it's going to go here, and this is removing the item, restoring the health, and recreating the inventory. Now when we have set up these little things, the last thing that we're going to do in this video is we are going to add the locations for our items that we are going to stack on to our character. So I'm going to open up this third person character. These are only for the visual side of the things, and we need to add a couple of skeletal meshes. So I'm going to add one, and I'm going to call this helmet. Actually I could helmet skeletal, and I'm gonna add more armor skeletal, and the pants skeletal, and the boots skeletal. I made these all parents, so I'm gonna unparent these like so. There we go. And now for the testing purposes, I'm gonna select my helmet first, and I'm gonna do a hat. Whoa, it's way too big and way too high. Since we made our character smaller, I'm gonna copy these scales because those models are created for this character scaling. And actually we could, well, right now we're just going to copy the scale only. I'm gonna select the helmet, paste the scales like so, This one was 270, like so, and our character location is -87, so I'm gonna put the same -87 over here, but that doesn't look good enough. It's way too high, so I'm gonna put this down even more. 97, it's a bit too much. I'm gonna make this like -90, -95. Oh, 95. There we go. Looks amazing. Don't mind the fact that the hat is not moving. That is because we need to do some more setting up, and before that I'm gonna add more of these previews right now. So I'm gonna add a blouse. There we go. This seems legit. Seems legit. For the boots I'm gonna add shoes. Whoa, these are big. Yeah, quite don't get these scales though, but I guess it is what it is. So I'm gonna copy from these, select the boots, paste this in, make this 270, copy the location from the helmet to the boots, like so, and the boots are still in a weird rotation and they don't really rotate how I want them to. What's the reasoning behind that? Oh, it was just a glitch. So there we go. So need to make this 270, like so. And don't mind the fact that these are like way off, because we placed our character's legs closer together and they are just in the default position. So don't mind right now these issues. We're going to fix this in a second. And I'm also going to add some jeans. And again, I will copy these scales to the pants, make this 270, and the location was, I believe, -95. Yes, there we go. Seems pretty good. Only thing now that you can make sure of is to fit these together nicely. Well, this is showing out a bit. So what we could do here actually is make the blouse a bit bigger, but we're gonna fix that a little later on. So let's just leave it like at least I'm gonna leave it like it is right now, and I'm gonna go to my event graph, and I need to find my begin play event. And over here, what I need to do is I need to drag in my mesh, my skeletal mesh, and all of these equipment skeletal meshes, and dragging, I believe we need to drag from our equipment, and we need to set master pose component. Yes, there it is, set master pose component. And the master pose component, new master bone component, is our static mesh, like so. Well, our skeletal mesh, I mean. And I'm gonna actually put this up, and I'm going to copy this node a couple of times because we need it for all of our equipables. Well, we are not going to need this for our weapon, only for the clothing. For the weapon we are going to have a different system. I'm just going to connect these like so. There we go, there we go, there we go. And now let's add our equipment variables over here. So what basically this does is, if we move our character, its bones are going to change locations because of the animation. And this node will set the same animation for our equipable items, since they are also skeletons, and they are using the same skeleton, the same animation. This will work just perfectly. So if we go to the game, when we walk, we can see that, well, it does move with us, but we have a lot of issues. The blouse is too low, the hat is too low, the shoes are too low, the pants are too low, the ass is showing, everything is showing. It's not good at all. So we need to adjust the locations, I believe. So let's see, where did we mess this up? And yeah, I believe that the issue is over here. We should change this back to maybe -87. Let's begin with the pants only. Let's fix the pants first and see how it works. Yes, it looks like the pants are in the right position, because now we don't see the underwear anymore. We see the pants, and the pants are fitting just fine. So I believe that's the only issue we have. That's the only issue we have. So boots are going to be back to the -87, so we cannot trust our preview. Yeah, and now I know why. I don't know how I didn't think of this before. That is because we have an animation on our character's bones are set way differently right now than it originally is, because right now in this preview we see the default position of our items. We can see that they are not moving, only the character is moving in these animations. So we press play, there we go. Well, our jeans are hanging out a little bit. We're going to fix it in a different video, but for now our character has clothing in the right positions. The scales seem pretty good. The blouse should maybe be a tad bit bigger, and in the next video we are going to make sure that we can actually equip these legitimately, because right now these are only previewable ones. So yeah guys, wait for the next video. Leave a comment down below and with ideas what more tutorials you want me to after this equipment system, or any further tutorials that I will make. It actually helps a lot for me to plan out things if I know what you guys want. And yeah, leave a comment, let's chat. See ya.